Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pointless Top 10, a show where we make top 10 lists of the pointless things, where we fly and buys pointless statue in Booty Bay, because inside pointless things are treasure. Let's begin. 10. Number 10 are the Fetid Crypts, and the Fetid Crypt is a large chamber below Atul Aman in Vol'dun, and you can only access it through the abandoned passageway, which is in the side of this big mountain, and there's all this sand pouring over the edges, and it's blocked by this big magical barrier. But once you're able to do the quest and unlock the magical barrier, then you can go into the Fetid Crypt, and it's actually really cool. It's not really what you would think of a crypt where, you know, there's probably a bunch of caskets all over or big stone hallways. It's just kind of this big corrupted area. I also had no idea that the word fetid meant smelling extremely unpleasant. I don't know if that's just because I'm uncultured in my vocabulary, but I never heard anybody say fetid, and if I did, I didn't acknowledge it. So now I know that this place, this crypt, smells extremely bad. But yeah, overall, this is really one of the more unique crypts in World of Warcraft in that it's in the desert, it's corrupted with a bunch of tentacles and mushrooms and crazy stuff, and it's kind of hidden away. Literally, it's in a hidden secret passage area. So that's why the Fetid Crypt is number 10. 9. Number 9 is the Undercroft, and the Undercroft is a crypt in the southwestern region of the Eastern Plaguelands, and I'm sure a lot of people remember this from classic hardcore WoW. I know I do, because I came here at like my mid-50s, ready to level up and hit 60, and I almost died here, and many people almost died here because there's a quest where like 4 or 5 trolls attack you, or maybe it's 3 trolls, but there's so many trolls all close together that it's a really difficult place to kind of quest in if you're doing hardcore WoW. If you're doing regular WoW, it's like whatever, you'll die or whatever, but it was genuinely a close call with all these trolls. And so all of the undead trolls here are led by the undead dire troll, Zaeldar the Outcast, and he apparently leads occasional raids on the Argent Dawn's base at Light's Hope Chapel to steal bodies from their grave pit. But yeah, then the rest of the crypt is really cool. This is kind of one of the more common crypts in World of Warcraft. Like, this is a crypt they've been using all the way back since classic World of Warcraft, so pretty much, I think if you've played WoW at any point, you've probably been in a crypt like this one. So I just think this one's cool because of all the undead trolls and the hardcore WoW stuff and everything like that. So that's why the Undercroft is number 9. 8. Number 8 is the Absolution Crypt, and the Absolution Crypt is located in Revendreth. And this is actually one of the few times that we've had new crypts added to the game. So I was like, well, I have to include this one. There's actually a few other crypts, but some of them you can't actually get into. There's like quest lines, or I think stuff with anima. And listen, it was Shadowlands. I'm not about to go back there, but this one you can actually go into. It's pretty cool. And so this actually made me curious, what is a crypt? What is defined in the dictionary as a crypt? And it says here that a crypt is a chamber, such as a vault, wholly or partially underground, and a vault under a main floor of a church or chamber in a mausoleum. Simply put, a crypt is a vault or small space used to house dead bodies, generally in the floor of a church or underground in some capacity. And it says that the world's first known crypts were used in Italy, Greece, and South Africa to house bodies of saints, priests, martyrs, and other ancient Christians deemed worthy of entombment. And you know, one of my favorite things about doing these top 10s for things like windmills and lighthouses and crypts and stuff, right, is that we get to learn real life historical facts about these things. And now I just feel like I'm smarter, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I haven't learned what fetid was, so that's why the Revendreth, or the Absolution Crypt in Revendreth, is number 8. 7. Number 7 is the Stromgarde Keep Crypt, and the Stromgarde Keep Crypt is located at Stromgarde Keep in Arathi Highlands. And this one is very similar. In fact, I think it's the exact same crypt as the Undercroft, but I think this one just feels different because obviously it's not overrun by undead trolls, and it has a lot of history behind it. I also just think the area itself looks really cool, right? Like, there's a bunch of gravestones all around, and there's trees, and I mean, we're literally in the castle walls, so it's kind of like this crypt is within the castle, and I don't know, there's just this creepy element to it, and I really liked how it felt here. And so I do want to talk about the history a bit, because I do think it's pretty cool, and I mentioned it. So during the 3rd invasion of the Burning Legion, the crypt was opened by the Knights of the Ebon Blade with Troll Kalar. I think that's how you say it, but Troll Kalar is the legendary sword of the Trollbanes, the royal family of Stromgarde. And the name literally means Troll Slayer in the ancient tongue of Arathor. But anyway, the Knights of the Ebon Blade came in here, and they used the sword, and they raised up King Thoris Trollbane as a member of the 4 Horsemen. And so if you're a Death Knight, you've probably seen the 4 Horsemen. It's literally a Death Knight talent. And so you have Thoris Trollbane, Nazgrim, Darian Mograine, and Sally Whitemane. So yeah, overall, the area is really cool. There's some cool history here, and it's pretty great. So that's why the Stromgarde Keep Crypt is number 7. 6. Number 6 is the Tomb of the Old Kings, and the Tomb of the Old Kings is a crypt found on Shield's Rest in Stormheim. And it says here that several Vrykul kings were buried here, and their tomb protected by traps and Vrykul spirits. During the Burning Legion's invasion of the Broken Isles, adventurers plundered 3 of its treasures. First, a warrior came to challenge Magnar Icebreaker in order to reclaim the Scale of the Earth Warder. Next, the paladin came to challenge Ygrimme the Truth Seeker for Truthguard. And finally, the spirit of Warlord Volund was disturbed by a hunter in order to take Titan Strike. So really, we just came down here and disrupted the dead just to get our artifact weapons, is what I'm getting out of all of this. But yeah, all that aside, the actual crypt itself is really cool. There's like torches on the wall and these big stone pillars and a lot of really cool, well-carved designs in here. Then there's like caskets and tombs all over. Like, it is a really cool area. In fact, I would go as far to say this is probably one of the biggest crypts in World of Warcraft, aside from maybe one of the crypts coming up on the list that I'm sure nobody's ever heard of before. Yeah, I love this crypt. I think it's really cool, and so that's why the Tomb of the Old Kings is number 6. 5. Number 5 is Lord Admiral's Rest, and Lord Admiral's Rest is the royal crypt of Borealis, where the deceased members of House Proudmoore and the past Lord Admirals of the nation rest. And I think this is one of the areas that either not many people know about or just completely forgot about. Maybe they were just kind of running through here when they were questing back in the day in BFA, and then just being like, oh, that place was neat, and then, you know, you just keep questing. You go about your day, you're doing whatever, right? You don't really stop and appreciate this area and how cool it is. You got the flowers, you got the autumnal trees, you've got the little gates and the flags and the birds, you're right by the water, and it is a really nice area. In fact, one of my favorite things here is the Kraken candle holders. You can see the Kraken has all the tentacles and then each one is carrying a candle. I think that's really sick. And so overall, I would just say this is a really nice burial area. If you're in Borealis for some reason, maybe you're taking a portal room or doing whatever, I would just say, hey, you know what? Run over here to the Lord Admiral's Rest, walk around, take a look at everything and be like, yo, this is actually a really nice area. So that's why the Lord Admiral's Rest is number 5. 4. Number 4 are the Karazhan Crypts, and I feel like I don't even have to describe the Karazhan Crypts. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows about the Karazhan Crypts. Every video that's ever been made about creepy stuff has the Karazhan Crypts in it, but I mean, how could I not include the Karazhan Crypts in a list about crypts? And I mean, the Karazhan Crypts truly are a really cool place. Like, you've got these big hallways with skeletons all over, and there's the little areas where, you know, I guess they put coffins and caskets and stuff like that. And then, you know, you've got bones piled up on each other. You've got big areas with just empty space or gates and water. Like, it is a really creepy, cool area, but it's just, you know, everybody knows about it. It's been in like every single video, and, you know, they even made it into a dungeon in the classic revamped or whatever it's called, Season of Discovery. I forgot what it was called. And so overall, I had to put the Karazhan Crypts on this list, but I didn't want to put them super high up, but I didn't want to put them too low either. So I thought number 4 was a perfect spot. So that's why the Karazhan Crypts are number 4. 3. Number 3 are the Auchenai Crypts, and the Auchenai Crypts are located at Auchendown in the Terakar Forest. And I'm sure a lot of people remember the Auchenai Crypts from going to the dungeon back in the day during Burning Crusade. And I'm going to read you the background because I actually think this is really cool. So it says here that it is said that long ago a shadowy cult invaded Auchendown. In its depths, the cult released an immensely powerful malevolent being from arcane captivity, blasting the decrepit city apart. Any adventurers brave enough to enter the abandoned, bone-littered remains of Auchendown would do well to remember the warning of the city's original guardians, the Auchenai. The original exiles on Draenor found death to be an unsettling and unfortunate consequence of life, and so the Draenei hid their dead away in the subterranean grave city of Auchendown, a labyrinth marvel beneath the forests of Terakar. It also says here that Auchendown is a mausoleum, and so I was like, what's the difference between a mausoleum and a crypt? And it says a mausoleum is the entire building or above-ground structure that houses burial spaces, while a crypt is the individual chamber or vault within the mausoleum where a casket or urn is placed. And honestly, I think some of the things on this list are actually mausoleums, but I'm just going to call it crypts anyway because it's pointless top 10 and this is a Crendor video. So that's why the Auchenai Crypts are number 3. 2. Number 2 is Uther's Tomb, and Uther's Tomb is a monument dedicated to Uther the Lightbringer at Sorrow Hill in Western Plaguelands. And I was on the fence on whether or not this would be considered a crypt, but when I looked up more definitions for crypt, it said a crypt is a specific type of tomb, typically a stone or concrete chamber or vault. And I was like, you know what? this is close enough. I was like, it's pointless top 10. I can make exceptions on this list. And I don't think I'm going to be doing tombs because there aren't many tombs in World of Warcraft, at least what I could find. So I'm fine with putting Uther's tomb on this list of crypts. And this really is a beautiful building. Like, we have the trees and the flowers and the decorations all around the outside. And then the actual structure of the tomb is like these big carved stone things with stained glass and banners, and it looks really cool. And then you get onto the inside and there's more like big stained glass and this giant statue of Uther, and there's vines and candles all over. It's a really cool area. And I mean, on top of all that, Uther is one of the most well-known characters in World of Warcraft's lore, and so that's why Uther's tomb is number 2. And number 1 is the Badlands Crypt, and the Badlands Crypt is located southeast of the Hammertoe dig site in the Badlands. And what makes this crypt so unique is when you go inside of it, there are some skeletons all laying around, and there is a throne with a skeleton king that is on the throne. And apparently this is a reference to the Conan the Barbarian story, The Thing in the Crypt, in which Conan finds a crypt and takes the sword of a mummified king sitting on a throne. This also inspired a scene in the 1982 film Conan the Barbarian. And in fact, on top of all that, this is the crypt that started the list of crypts for Pointless Top 10, because I was just rolling around looking for stuff for Pointless Top 10, and I was like, what is this place? And then I found it, and I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I should do a top 10 crypts, and this was the first crypt on the list of crypts. And I do think it's really fun when you're exploring in World of Warcraft, and then you just come across something like this, and it feels like you found something that is hidden away or mysterious, and you're like, why is this crypt in the Badlands with a bunch of skeletons all over? Like, it was just really cool, and so I decided to put it number 1 for all those reasons, and that's why the Badlands Crypt is number 1. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Pointless Top 10. If you want more top 10s, you can check out creepy things in World of Warcraft or creepiest NPCs in World of Warcraft. Since this was kind of a creepy video, go watch some other creepy stuff. Also, like the video and consider supporting the channel on patreon.com/Crendor or by becoming a channel member. Okay? Okay. See you.